Welcome to Smart Money Moves. Today I have Tamsan Lasuela, a partner at P&A Chartered Accountants, very experienced with working with small business. And today he's going to be telling us why our small businesses are failing and what to do to get a turnaround. Mr. Tamsan, how are you?
Hello, Mando.
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure everybody who's going to watch is going to learn a lot about why their small businesses are failing and what they should change in order for us to grow. So my first question to you is, in your experience, why do small businesses fail locally?
I think that it's always a combination of various factors and that are different from business to business. We'll go through, I'll take you through some of the reasons why, but from business to business, obviously there has to be a due diligence to determine what really is making it fail. But I'll talk about what on the top of my head makes businesses actually the downfall.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, the well-known one that we try and overlook, but which is very important, is lifestyle. A lot of entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe believe that how you present yourself attracts business. Mm-hmm. So that sometimes can always get to a point where it will strain the organizations, because as you grow, you believe that whatever you show to the market will attract bigger and bigger business. So what this really means is that entrepreneurs end up taking money to buy expensive cars, mm-hmm. taking money to build expensive houses. And whenever they are seen in public, they want to be seen to be spenders, because they believe that kind of lifestyle attracts what? More people to do business with them. But ultimately, without that being controlled, that leads to a business downfall.
But they say that perception is reality, and apparently we must fake it till we make it. So people say if you're driving a particular car and you go to the client's office and they see you driving that car, they're probably going to give you the business. Isn't that the idea, or is that true? Is that what we're supposed to follow?
It does work, mm-hmm. but the problem comes when there is a gap between the timing of your investment and whatever business you're trying to attract. So if you're trying to attract a particular business, you have a license, you want an investor, you want to partner with so many people, you go and you take too much money from the business. Yeah. It affects what we call working capital. Money to pay employees, money to purchase more goods. That's when you find out some businesses, the owner will come in and park an expensive Benz, yeah. but the people have not been paid for 4 or 5 months. Sure. They're just being paid money for bus fare and being given lunch. Or you find a person parking an expensive Benz and then jumping in and running away because they're a tenant there and the landlord is on their case. So that's when the mismatch comes. Okay. You're positioning yourself, but then there becomes a timing difference. So sometimes you find that it works, but sometimes it doesn't. So it has to be managed, because in a way you end up becoming a tenderpreneur. Yeah. We are now waiting for tenders. But if you want your business to grow, you have to manage how much of your lifestyle you will compromise the business with.
So generally the founder or the business owner is stealing from his own business.
He's not stealing, he's investing, but investing in what does not immediately bring back money. Mm. Yeah.
Okay. And many people blame external factors like the economy with regards to why their businesses are failing. How much of the business failure would you say is internal versus external?
I think in an economy, if we were to say external factors or economic factors or political factors were such a big influence, then all small businesses would all fail at one go.
Sure.
Because they fail, a large percentage survive. It means they are doing something right, and those that are there are doing something wrong.
They're doing something wrong.
Yeah. So there might be things that entrepreneurs have to make sure they're doing well. First of all, they have to make sure that they are in touch with their customers, because the customers have got changing needs. All customers have changing needs. You have to be in touch with your current customers. Secondly, you have to make sure your business is differentiated from other businesses. Entrepreneurs will go into a business and be the only person, but because their business is thriving, after 2 or 3 years, there are competitors, almost 10 to 15, that are doing exactly the same business with the same model. So they have to continuously differentiate. Another issue also related to the marketing of the business is that entrepreneurs love to go and invest in high-risk areas. Currently, you'll find that in Zimbabwe, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs jumping into mining.
Yeah.
And you'll find that anyone who jumps to mining, there's a high capital input into mining. And when you go to their core business is struggling. They're killing businesses. So entrepreneurs will diversify to too many businesses and then keep on feeding that business, believing that business will carry or at some point pick up. That's another area. Wherever you're doing your market research of your current business, of your business you want to enter into, and you have to differentiate your product all the time. So don't ever take your business for granted. Don't go into another business that you do not understand fully and do not understand the risk or do not have enough capital to invest in. So that's another area that people fail to jump in, that fail to manage the marketing side.
Yeah. So on the issue of research, if someone is watching, what are the top 3 things that they should do before they jump into a business? So I think people get into business for different reasons. Right now, like you say, people are jumping into mining because they think or they've heard that there's money in mining. Some have put 50K, 100K, came up with nothing. So what kind of research should I dabble into? Or what would you say are the top 3 things that I should look at before getting into any business?
I think people do research, but what they don't do properly is budget. They don't create a budget for whatever they want to invest in. They actually end up under-investing in that. So it also stems from lack of working capital investment and working capital to feed into the new business ventures. So they should learn how to budget. There's also a lot of consultants that they can engage. There are people that can do due diligence for them, which they can determine what is in the business. There are marketing experts who can go in there and give them a marketing model and give them what they should do to achieve what. Bring those together with the production analyst, you then determine what capital needs to be done. Now, another problem you will see entrepreneurs having is that they don't have strong relationships with banks.
Of course.
Yeah, so if you don't have a strong relationship with the bank will never give you capital investment. Bank will not support your working capital when you get a big order on things like that. So you need to have those good relationships with your bank and always budget. And every time review your budgets and analyze your what went wrong in the last month so that you can forward plan. But that effort of doing that, when people invest, they then rely on luck. Let's see what happens. But you should make sure that you're seeing let's see what happens, but we know what has happened. And we've changed our models based on what happened the first 3 months financially, on a marketing basis, and on a production basis. We might need to change our product. We might need to change our distribution model. And we might need to train our employees either on customer etiquette or something like that. And we have to make sure that we have enough capital. If we don't have enough capital, make sure, even if you don't want a bank, make sure you're putting money into the bank and restoring it if you still don't want to trust the system.
So talking about banks, a lot of business owners are either running their businesses in shika type of way. They'll get an account because there's a tender or there's a client who specifically says, I can only pay you through the bank. So how do I build a good relationship with the bank? What does a good relationship with the bank look like?
I think a good relationship with the bank is first of all, going to the bank and to banks have an appetite for informal. And you'll find out most entrepreneurs have assets. They have houses that they can give as surety. But also what needs to come in is, and even if you are saying you're working from hand to mouth, make sure you carry the cost of depositing and withdrawing but later on it will give you access to actually cheaper money when you now want to expand. Okay. So every time you get money, first deposit and then withdraw and carry that cost. It will save you in the future when you now need funds to come in or capital funds for you to invest in other businesses. So you have to have a forward-thinking mind to say, I'm sacrificing activity to running into the bank and following day withdrawing, but I'm creating a trend with the bank.
Still on formalizing, I want to talk slightly about Zimra. A lot of business owners are struggling right now because Zimra wants to hold them accountable for paying taxes. And some business owners are running away from that. What are your thoughts on businesses paying their tax and ensuring that they are compliant and aligned?
I think when going back to budgeting, most businesses, when they look at their budgets, they will actually determine before they invest how much profit there is. Some businesses actually are only profitable by that they are not paying their VAT, they're not paying their pay-as-you-earn, they're not paying some of their income tax, or not paying some of their withholding taxes. So actually, when something happens, the business crumbles because all along it was not making enough. So the budgeting aspect and always monitoring where your business is going is very important. And another thing that is important that we run away from is actually building a relationship with your customer services at Zimra and actually telling them the truth all the time. I'm struggling at this point. Can I do this? Can I do this? Don't always wait for there to be an audit or they're chasing you. Try and always comply to the laws and regulations and create a relationship that even if you don't have money, you go and negotiate. I think if you do create a relationship, Zimra, they are human beings there. They become very bad people if they just come to you and find out you're not complying for it.
Yes. So I think a lot of us run away from Zimra instead of running towards Zimra to build relationships and understand what is expected. And I like what you say that probably your business is making profit because you actually are not paying your VAT. So the pinch now comes in when Zimra says, we need you to make your payment. So you realize that I'm left with nothing. So you were never making a profit
You were never making a profit. Yeah, you're never making a profit.
Okay, fantastic. I like that.
Another thing is that obviously going to Zimra is also not as easy.
Yeah.
You need to have a consultant who will hold your hand and say, okay, at this point, let's go with this.
Yeah.
At this point, let's go with this. At this point, let's go with this. Yeah. And sometimes when you get Zimra audits, it's always important to then talk to your consultant and say, I've got this Zimra audit coming up. How should I handle it? And then your consultant will say, okay, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Let's declare this. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's so also hand-holding by a consultant is makes it easier when you're now approaching Zimra because they have a background of how Zimra should operate and what the laws say, and then they help you address whatever problem you want.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for that. Now, my next question is, what are the early signs that my business is about to crash? The business is going down. And why do entrepreneurs sometimes seem like they ignore the early signs, or are they even ignoring, or they just don't know that these are the signs for the failure, for the business starting to go down?
The most important thing you should understand is that business is not always profitable. The businesses, there are peaks and there are lows.
Yeah.
So in terms of when a business goes low, the entrepreneur should then always look at what we talked about. They should go and look at their marketing side. Are they still providing the correct product? The cash working capital side, is there enough capital in the business to actually run it? Because sometimes what happens is that the business grows, but then no extra working capital is put in. So now the working capital cycle becomes too long. You're now find yourself that your debtors are not paying you on time, for you to pay your creditor, for you to pay employees. So you're now juggling cash and running around. So there's so many things that an entrepreneur has to look at when the business is low.
Yeah.
And sometimes when the business is high, they need to also keep money to help them when the business is low. So the part where you say, when do they know that the business is crashing is very difficult unless you bring in someone to help you, or you go for. There are also actually good courses being offered by Lupane where they give the entrepreneurs basic skills. Some of my clients that have gone to do that course, when we come and have a discussion, and when I tell them what is net profit, what is gross profit, what is liquidity, what is technical, what is technical stuff, like if I go to technical stuff, they have a basic understanding of what that is.
Yeah.
And when we have those discussions, they can then actually look at themselves and sometimes give me a call. You know what? I think there's a problem with my liquidity. My liquidity ratio has gone down, or I'm failing to make my debtors cycle and my creditors cycle are different. So there is a lot of trainings that entrepreneurs can go through.
Yeah.
Their finance managers can go through for them to be able to then do background work to determine that is this business going to survive or is going to regress, or they now have to diversify or put tools down.
Now, what's the difference between a business, a side hustle, and self-employment? Because I think there are people that call themselves entrepreneurs, but maybe you're just self-employed, so you're not running a business.
Yeah, you see, the problem in Zimbabwe is that it's always best to have a business where you're self-employed. In Zimbabwe, we have a lot of changes that happen very fast.
Yeah.
And you have to be on the ground to make the decisions. For instance, if your business is getting rands and there's a change in the rate for a rand, you lose out a lot of money. If a particular law comes in, you have to be on the ground.
Yeah.
So sometimes it takes longer for businesses in Zimbabwe to differentiate themselves from the owner. And sometimes you find when the owner pushes away, because the owner is the person who is emotionally invested, who has got the desire, the fear of the business crashing. I would always encourage owners, until your business is listed, be close to your business, put time to your business. Always, even if you get to a point where you do not want to be there on a daily basis, but get information that you need on a daily basis that will make you say, no, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you give your businesses, you delegate to someone, but because they have just got 2 or 3 years experience, those 20 years experience of yours, where you've gone through inflation, currency changes, buying goods locally, buying goods outside, all those things, those are important things for a businessman or a business to have. So if you pull yourself away, you're taking away that experience.
Yeah.
But when you get to a level of listing, that becomes different. You then can get a strong board in and get well-paid technocrats to run your business. So I really don't encourage the model where they say, are you the business? Yes, you are the business, because there's a lot of volatility in Zimbabwe.
True.
If you move aside, you find out there's a lot of changes. And another thing that we have is that if you don't put in strong systems, entrepreneurs lose a lot of money from people who steal from them.
Yeah.
If you don't have systems that inform you, or you have weak systems, I've noticed a lot of business that I look at crash because the entrepreneur trusted people, and those people that they trusted are the ones that took money from them.
Yeah.
They say, no, that person could not do this to me. You know, I've gone to a simplistic one. I've done an investigation of a lodge where the manager was taking so much money. They now had a house in Caudry Park.
Wow.
Yeah, but
So
that was so much. Yes,
They built a whole house with money they stole.
Yes, and you know, when we come in as to investigate and there are no controls, it's difficult to us to then say, the money was taken by ABC. But a lodge building a house for someone, I just wanted to show you the scale of what has happened. And there's so many organizations that I've looked at where organizations have lost money from trusting the person without a third eye coming to check whether what you're trusting is okay.
How important are systems in a business? You know, and when should I ensure that I've got the right systems, and what are the right systems? I know somebody once sent us a message asking, I always hear people talking about systems, but I don't know what a system looks like. Who do I go to? Where do I go to build systems for my business?
Okay, the system in a business is the owner. So when you as the owner cannot cash your money, go and buy your goods, count your stock, go to the bank, if you cannot do all those things all the time, then it means that you now need a system.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're an owner who travels a lot, you need a system. If you're an owner that has got a lot of family commitments, you've got 2 wives, maybe a lot of family commitments. So you now have to have a system.
Yeah.
A system is a basic model that reconciles certain documents to certain documents to make sure that there's a balance and that someone is not taking money from you. Most situations, you as an owner come into the organization and you say, I'm taking this $5,000. You put it in your pocket, you're happy. The following day, your employee says, the boss said, I should take this 5,000 and put it in. Because there's no system to show that that 5,000 was taken. Because you are running away from people knowing how much you're making. Your employees, when you dip in, they dip in. It's so bad sometimes when I go and do investigations. An owner will have some money and they're taking the money, putting it into the safe. When they're looking aside, they find the owner, the employee had grabbed some money and put it into the pocket. And these are trusted employees. So trusted employee is just a term. And a trusted employee, remember, trusted employee has got parents that get sick. Has got children that get sick. And most cases, you find people whom the first time they steal, there's always a genuine reason. You know what? My wife needs to go to India. Let me take this 3,000. I will push it back.
You never push it back.
You never push it back. My child needs a bicycle. That's a good boy. Hey, let me get this money and then
buy him a bicycle.
Yes, all the reasons why people take initially are good reasons, Then obviously, even, my girlfriend, she's such a lovely girl. You take it. She doesn't even ask me about my wife. You take a bit, and it just becomes a habit. That you actually start doing. So when we start looking at people, the first time they steal, always a genuine thing, and most of the time it's sickness. So when you put a system in, it will reconcile how much was on the till versus how much was banked or how much was used, was the evidence of all the amounts used, all those systems. When we're procuring, did we procure from the right person? Were they kickback? There's so many things that come in.
What role does the team or the employees, what role do they play in the business failing besides the stealing of the money? And as an entrepreneur, how do I hire? I find that a lot of businesses have people coming in, 2 months they're out, 2 months they're out. So in a year, they're hiring and they're constantly changing. How do you keep people? Can you keep people?
Yes, you do. So what is very important in an organization is, as a human being, you have to be a talent scout. For instance, the Tandy, the lady you have, if you think that she is quality, start making moves to keep them. Yeah, even if you say, no, if she's very good, I'll give you a percentage of the profit, but don't tell anyone else. So you have to have people that you can see that can push your business forward and can help you. But another thing that you should understand is that a person who is running your business should not, in a small business, be able to touch all facets. So if the person is doing sales, don't let them be dealing with the bank. Yeah, they're in sales. And don't let them be dealing with production, because you're creating a model for them how they're going to also run their business. So that's the risk that you're averting. Make sure that your person is good in sales. Just give them sales. They do sales. If the person is good with procurement, just give them procurement. Don't make an employee end up having knowledge of the business more than you. Because that's why we end up having next door, they are opening a bigger business than you.
I was about to go into that, to say, what about the employees that they take the full model, they watch how you do everything, they steal your clients, and then they go out and do exactly what you're doing?
It's just like men, we say, don't tell your wife everything. It's the same with your employees. Don't tell your wife everything. And before we go on, some businesses fail because of a divorce,
Oh.
and because they have bad partnerships. Me and you, we come up, we say, let's have a business, let's have a consultant. And then along the way, I figured, no, you know what? Mandla was saying, I'm giving her 40%, I'm taking 60, but I feel like I should be getting 80.
Yeah.
And I proposed that, no, I think I need to be getting 8. You say no because you're enjoying the money. Then we fight. In that fight, it destroys customer relationships. It destroys models. So what I also encourage entrepreneurs to do, and even when you're getting married and there's a business related, there's a business there, come up with what are called shareholder agreements. Go to your lawyer and say, you know what, we are happy with each other at the moment, but give us a shareholder agreement that says what happens when we have a conflict. And this conflict is something that we can't resolve. The lawyer will craft for you what is called a shareholder agreement. We will look at it as an accountant to say, okay, have they covered all the facets of the business? And then you have a fail-safe position where if something happens, the business can continue, and then there's a way out you can separate, divorce, or as entrepreneurs separate. Yeah.
How do I choose partners? Number one, are partners important? And when it comes to marriage, how do I position my business just in case we divorce?
Yeah, you see, I think you're going to talk to Bruce Edwards after me. Yeah, you can ask him about that.
I'm a divorce guy. I will.
But now, when you're choosing partners and you are in the business, the most important criteria there are 2 criteria that you need to choose a partner. They're going to make you money, and they've got some form of integrity. Okay. Those are the 2 ones. And sometimes you can't choose just because they're going to make you money. Yeah, that's very important. Always choose a partner. Don't create a long list of business partners. As long as that person is going to make you money,
clock it in.
Clock it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, clock it in.
Yeah, no, clock it in.
Later on, as long as you have a fail-safe model that says, if we have a problem, we can separate. There are so many relationships that grow businesses that will not last forever.
Yeah.
So you just have to make sure that I am going to sleep with this person, but when it comes time for me to jump out of here, I know how we would have grown the business, I would have made money. Rather than for you to say, no, I'm scared of this person, scared of this person. And another important thing is, obviously, businesses have to, people are always scared to have partnerships with people in Harare because people in Harare are aggressive. As long as you also have a shareholder agreement, go out there and make the money.
Yeah.
When you separate, you have more capital than when you started. But if you want to stick in your little corner, you will always remain in your little corner. And if something big comes in, it will wash you away. So always make partnerships with people all over the country.
Yeah.
Tare, Gweru, Harare. Then always involve your lawyers to come up with, to make sure your shareholding structures are correct. How growth comes in when we want to when we want to increase our capacity, when cash is coming in, what happens when someone wants to come in with cash, what if I want to leave? But always make partnerships with people who make you money. That's why you are in business.
Now, someone
you're not in business to be happy with the person you're working with.
You're there to make money.
Yeah.
Now, someone wants to come in with cash. I've been running my business for the last 3 years. Someone comes in and says, listen, I want to put $100,000 in your business. A lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that because the one who's coming in with the 100K maybe says, listen, I want 50%. How do we do that divide? I've heard business owners saying that you'd rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing.
The risk is never with the 50%. It's never with the 100,000. Okay. The risk comes when they say, okay, I now want to put in another 100,000. Oh. Yeah. And they know that you don't have the capacity to put 100,000.
Yeah.
So now that's where shareholder agreements come in to say, okay, if you want to do this, what happens? And obviously, you have to now say, no, our shareholder agreement says you cannot increase your shareholding within the first 5 years. Oh. So whatever you're putting in as a loan.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay. Yeah. And that's actually smart.
Yeah. But the first initial one is never a problem. You're also excited. You've seen how the business will grow. The second one, when they want to push it, because business obviously is about starting off with a partner and then pushing them away. It's just what business is, because there's never going to be 2 equal partners in that. Yeah. So especially in smaller business.
After we've put in the 100,000, when do we start doing the profit divide? Get a salary.
If I go into the business with you and I know that I've got more money than you and you don't have a salary, I will say, Loma, I want to increase my shareholding.
Yeah.
But I know you don't have the money.
Yeah.
Then I say, you know what? I can pay you cash.
Okay.
So you are cash hungry. The business is still not ready to pay out cash. So always when you're coming into a business, always be clear on how much cash you're getting. Also, as an entrepreneur, always give yourself a cash amount.
Okay.
You know, I've gone to organizations where I've said, your cash, with your size of your small business, your salary should be $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to structure your 10,000, make it a deductible expense and pay Zimbra, but that's your money.
Okay.
You're not going to be taking money from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because an entrepreneur sometimes will say, I want a car, and they get 30,000.
Yeah.
This I don't want much. I just want groceries, 1,000. But overall, the amounts that they take affect the business adversely. And sometimes when they take these monies, they're not a deductible expense.
How important is financial discipline in a business, especially when it comes to the business owner?
So the problem with the business is that it's very strenuous. So you have to have times where you have to go and reward yourself. So you have to structure these things before you make money. And when you make money, you should always put money into assets that can be sold at a future date, but also give yourself a reward, a bonus for doing well over a particular year. Take yourself out for holiday. There are lots of holiday spaces here in Zimbabwe. If your business is bigger, it's a bigger, smaller business, you can go to the Maldives and refresh. The problem is now continuously rewarding yourself.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, so you have to have a limit and say, I can only reward myself about 2 or 3 times my salary, you know? Yeah, and within your salary, that's where you pay your fees, that's where you deal with your food, that's where you pay relatives. Or when there's a funerals, you just say, I don't have any more money. This is the money I can't afford. You have to get to a point where you say, no, I can't afford. This is what I can offer for this particular situation. Okay. Yeah, and always, I think also another thing that small business owners are very scared of is called insurance.
Yes.
Insurance is a very important thing. So if you are insured, there's a payment that you do. You can actually get an insurance for when your business struggles. Yeah, so there are various.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, so there are various forms of insurance that you can talk to your insurance broker, and then they provide for you. It's not only car insurance. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people think that it's just car insurance.
That part.
My second and last question is: when do I know that it's time to close the business? It's not working anymore. I just need to wrap it up.
I don't think it's ever time to close a business. It's just time to diversify into another business. How are you going to survive if you're going to close a business?
Yeah.
It's time to diversify. And I said there's a criteria that, or you can bring in a consultant, say, can you look at my business? What can I do? You can have a marketing consultant, a financial consultant. They come in and they give you other models. You know, people are like me and like you and like lawyers. We are actually, we've put ourselves in a situation where we are supposed to make people make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what our reputation is about. We make people make money. So there are people out there that are supposed to make you make money.
Yeah.
That's what their job is. They sell making you make money. Norma will sell improving your sales team or structuring a lot of things. I'd sell reviewing your businesses, auditing your business. So there are a lot of people out there. Marketing consultants are there to make you get more customers.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there that are structured. Their businesses are there to make you make more money. And if you're really scared, you can actually go into arrangements where you say, okay, you can consult, but I will only pay you on a percentage of what I make extra, things like that. Yeah.
Right. So for fun, one question that I have for you: have you ever blown some money? What's the worst financial decision you ever made? I hope there's one.
Yeah, there's a soccer team that I help out with.
Yeah.
Sometimes we buy a goat.
To do what? To just eat each other?
Yes, we just buy a goat and we just cook it and we eat.
So that's like your daily what you call this, your daily mistake, financial
No, it's not
mistake.
daily. Once in a while. That's the biggest I can ever.
I think maybe that's not the best question for you. Since you're an accountant, it means you're always looking and ensuring that you don't make any silly mistakes.
Yes, I think I'm always conscious about that.
All right, and then the other question is, please, what are your thoughts on black tax? Black tax in the African home.
I think black tax is also another problem that you need to talk to Mr. Edwards. I'm not so socially conversant of what should happen in society. I'm not there to build society. I'm just there to build businesses. I think this is a more societal question.
Yeah.
So I cannot have I have my own opinion that says black tax depends on what the person really needs, especially your immediate parents. But I really am not sure what is best for society. It depends on what Mr. Edwards will say. Will he say no black tax?
No black tax.
Yes, black tax, and from what he says, we then learn from that.
All right, I like that. 3 financial tips for our viewers, especially the ones in debt.
I think debt is quite normal. Let's first start off by saying debt is quite normal. We just have to understand, what were you doing when you were getting into the debt?
Yeah.
And I said, do you have a plan to get out of the debt? Have you monetized the plan to get out of the debt? If you don't have those, sometimes you need to just liquidate that business and then think about what your next business is. Yeah. And another thing that is very important is that don't ever create a relationship between businesses.
Okay.
If you have a transport business, let it be under its own company. If you have a supermarket business, under its own company. If you have another business that does property, put it under its own business, its own company. Yeah. So what entrepreneurs do? They pull in a lot of these businesses, and the businesses that are making losses keep eating into the businesses that are making money.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Siyabonga. Thank you very much. Where can people find you?
63 Heyman.
Okay, 63 Heyman Suburbs, right?
Yes.
We'll also make sure that we put up an email address where they can contact you. Thank you so much. I'll send you more questions, and hopefully we'll have you back here to come and answer more questions. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching Smart Money Moves, and watch out for the next episode, and make sure that you subscribe. Thank you.